Welcome to my page, my website, jayaudiolab.com. This is my enthusiast website that will bring you closer to me and my journey with some of today's best audio components. Hundreds of pictures of all the systems that I have owned. Under the membership plans, there will be 3 plans to choose from. These memberships will have raw, uncut video with my unfiltered opinion on just about everything that enters my room. You will see many behind the scenes videos, plus updated lists of amplifier rankings, speaker rankings, preamplifier rankings, and much, much more. In short, jayaudiolab.com will give you an intimate look at what goes down in my lab that you cannot get anywhere else. Join the fun and see you there. Thank you for, this is one of my followers, longtime followers, so he has a good conversation with me right now, so I figure why not get it on tape and record it. So you were talking about the comparisons that I do on my YouTube channel, right? And that we have a short-term memory, and that it's very difficult sometimes to really see and hear what's going on, like if we forget. And obviously you know that I do a lot of these things like right there, real time, plug and play. I just recently did a comparison of streaming versus vinyl, my Chronos. It was a 3-hour live stream session. If you guys have not seen that, check it out on my channel.
Oh, the unboxing of the turntable.
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that one.
And throughout like the entire live stream, I did a couple of song comparisons on there.
Gotcha.
Now, I know it's hard to tell through live stream, right? But I can tell you, you can see in the reaction, my reaction, the differences. So to me, one of the biggest things that you have to remember when you compare products, and I've said it a million times, you got to try to be as close as possible in terms of the environment, meaning hopefully the same electronics, the same speakers, and ideally the same room. But we know that's hard, right? Because that means if you go see 2 different dealers, different rooms, different acoustics, right? The results will vary.
Apples to apples, in a sense.
So go ahead and tell us what is it that you were articulating to me.
Yeah. So I was saying to Jay that you know, I follow a lot of different audio you know, reviewers on YouTube, and I always find it interesting when they compare. Let's say, for example, you compare 2 power chords, for example, like a stock power chord and, you know, a Shinyata or whatever, right? And you're like, hey, this one is brighter, it's more airy, it's more detailed or whatever. And it's like, I recognize 2 things. Our memories are very short term.
Yes,
right?
agreed.
That's one thing. And then also, I believe that there's often expectation bias, right? Some people will say it's placebo or whatever. So my thing is, how do you minimize the biases that are naturally like inherent, you know, in just about everything? You know what I'm saying? So you're talking about the price being a placebo, part of the whole mental game? The look of it, the aesthetics, everything. It's like it can influence how you perceive something. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the best way to accurately discern whether I really hear a difference is to A/B something. So for example, if I have 2 of the same amplifiers connected to 2 of the same speakers, or just probably a better way, or I know that there are some components where you could do like some switching from, but I don't know. But if you're comparing, say, 2 amplifiers, for example, connected to the same equipment, the same speakers or whatever, and then you have, say, 1 stock chord and then 1 of the whatever the power chord is, I feel like that would be the best way to go back and forth right there in real time to see if there's a difference, versus having a power chord or a aftermarket power chord connected, and then 10 minutes later you plug that one out, you plug the other one in, and then you play it. It's like, unless the differences are like stark, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, agreed.
Unless the differences are absolutely night and day, it's hard. I think it's hard to say, hey, this one is airier, this one is, you know, a little darker, this one is brighter, you know?
So there's one thing we're not taking into account, and that's synergy, right? Because sometimes you may insert an amplifier that may not like your tube preamplifier. It may not like, it may be your DAC is too bright for it.
Yeah,
right?
I've learned to believe that's a real thing, yeah.
So I think one of the most important things is synergy, right? So if you are inserting components and you, for instance, are grabbing an amplifier and swapping them, that amplifier that was sitting on the sidelines waiting to be turned on and plugged in is not at the same stride as the one that has been playing music for 2-3 hours.
That's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
So that's the thing you have to take in consideration. That's one. Number two, you know, for me personally, the best way, for instance, to do an amplifier comparison is you insert it into the system and let it play music for 2 days. It doesn't matter if it's radio, it doesn't matter, right? Let the music flow the same way blood runs through our veins. Same thing.
Right.
And then listen to it critically. Once you're done, you take your notes, get it out, do the same thing with the next one. 2 days, 3 days, and listen to it. Now, to your point, it makes it hard because you just heard the other amplifier 2 days ago now. So we have a short memory.
Right.
So you're like, wait a minute.
Connecting one amplifier, you don't know what you're listening to, but you're just taking notes on that.
Yes.
And then you insert another amplifier, you don't know what it is, or you know what it is, or you know there's two amplifiers, but you don't know which one is which.
Right.
So when you don't know, I believe that's when you can more accurately, because there's no bias there.
Yeah, I agree.
You know
I agree. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also think that this is what keeps the industry going, because you're always chasing what may never be there, may never come to you, and you're hoping that it will be in your system someday, and that leads to you sometimes doing a full circle and not realizing that you're back to square one after you bought 3 amplifiers, 4 amplifiers, realizing that you came back around to do the same thing, but somehow your mind thinks, I'm at a better place than where I was last year, but you're not. You just did a 360, not realizing. And I think that is the reason why we have so many brands available, because that, first of all, that to me leads to more confusion, right, for us. And so when it comes to comparisons, you know, I have found out through a lot of trial and error that if the differences are too little for you to even justify the extra money, don't buy it. Stay with the one you've got.
Don't buy it, yeah.
For me to make a change and really come out of pocket and spend a nice chunk of change, the improvement needs to be there. Like, you have to clearly hear it. Like, it's like getting from a, you know, starting a 4-cylinder engine and then an 8.
I have a question about that. Because I know, like, for example, when you compared the Luxman to, I can't remember what the...
Sim Audio, and then I did the Constellation as well.
I wonder if I could have heard the differences if I wasn't using my headphones. Because I had headphones and I'm going back and forth. So I guess by your... maybe you can clarify. If I can hear the difference clearly with headphones, but if I can't hear it, if I don't have headphones, I'm just using my speakers, and I don't necessarily hear the difference, but I hear it with my headphones, is it then justified to buy the item if you hear it with your headphones?
So when you put headphones, you're eliminating the room, number one.
Right, yep.
So eliminating the room. Now, of course, the microphone that you're recording with is also picking up the room. We know that, right? But if you're sitting down and you're having a hard time finding the differences, for me, it's not worth you buying something new. I would never do that. So, and there are levels to this. This is why, and I hate to throw a dollar amount on this conversation, but when you start here and you want to go up here, 9 times out of 10, it means more money. I don't make up the rules. That's just how it is.
The case, but it is.
Right? It's more money. You don't go and say, I had something that was up here sonically, and I spent this much less, and I'm up here sonically speaking now. This, you know what I'm saying? And so, for me personally, having owned over 300 amplifiers, by now I can tell you that you cannot get caught in, and this is a trap oftentimes for us consumers. Okay, don't get caught in doing a lot of trials and then really thinking that maybe that extra 3% is going to be worth another $5,000. For me, if you cannot hear it, like literally from the get-go, it may not be the component you want. It's speakers.
Okay, you can't hear it with speakers.
So you have to hear it and know that from the beginning, 9 times out of 10, the initial impression There are some situations in which that may not be the case, okay? Cables being one of them. Cables take longer to settle into the system. That's a thing. And even outlets, but I know some of you guys have been telling me I'm crazy by saying outlets make a difference.
Oh, the outlets.
But stay tuned for that, because you are about to really be in for a treat. It makes a difference. You're going to hear it. If you heard the comparisons and you heard a difference, you're going to hear a difference with outlets. So when you start looking at the comparisons, in my opinion, you know, when you first plug in that new component, right out of the gate, with some exceptions, right out of the gate, it should impress you in a positive way. Change is not usually an indication of better performance.
Sometimes it's just different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And you have to decide if that different is an improvement for your taste.
Yep.
Meaning you have a lean system, you bought an amplifier like Griffin that has more punch. Is that considered an improvement for you? Because now you have the punch you never had before.
Right.
So keep that in mind going forward. But anyway, hopefully you guys like this chat with one of my subscribers. Stay tuned, more to come from Capital Audio Fest 2022. Thank you, man. Thank you, Laurie. Appreciate it.
No problem.